Mexicans died in the Vietnam War just like Americans did, but those who survived were treated like immigrants as soon as they came home. On our Memorial Day weekend, let's talk about the Mexicans who served in Vietnam. In the Vietnam War, Mexicans made up 5% of the population in the United States. Sadly, 10 to 20% of the deaths in Vietnam were Mexican. We had some Mexicans that volunteered to fight in the Vietnam War because the U.S. government promised them citizenship if they fought in Vietnam for the United States. And then, believe it or not, a lot of Mexicans that were in the United States that were still here illegally, undocumented, were still drafted. If you didn't know, the United States is able to draft anybody that lives in the United States, whether you're a citizen or not. And Vietnam was the last time we ever had a draft when it came to any of the wars in the United States. So yes, the United States did take advantage and drafted Mexicans that were here. Thus, you had a lot of Mexicans that fled back to Mexico. But that wasn't the case for everybody, so you did have Mexicans who were voluntold drafted into the Vietnam War. Just like I said earlier in my video, we had about 10 to 20% of Mexicans who died in the Vietnam War. When a lot of those Mexicans came home from the Vietnam War, they were treated poorly with no therapy, no support, no aid, and Americans were treating them bad. A lot of the Mexicans that volunteered to fight in the Vietnam War and were promised citizenship by the United States didn't get citizenship and were deported. Mexicans were twice as likely to die in the Vietnam War than white people. It's pretty unfair for them to come home and have no support and be deported. Now, a small percentage of these vets did receive citizenship. East Los Angeles, California, El Paso, Texas, and Fresno, California, were the cities who lost the most Mexicans in the war per capita than any other city in the United States. Now, I am honored and blessed to say that I had uncles that fought in the Vietnam War, and one of them is still alive, living in Southern California. And he was one of the few people that were able to get citizenship. So this Memorial Day weekend, let's not forget about our forgotten soldiers. Mexicans have always been warriors and have always fought for what they believe in, even when they don't get rewarded. Let's remember the fallen soldiers who sacrificed it all in every war, not just the Vietnam War. Happy Memorial Day weekend, guys.